there's some debate on how Friday the 13th became like the superstition that it is today. But I actually have an on this day that is thought to be the reason why Friday the 13th is like the unlucky day.
All right, shall we get into on this day?
I think we shall.
On this day!
Because on this day, perhaps the first, like, Friday the 13th unlucky day that started it being a, I guess, sort of more Western, superstitious, unlucky day. 13 being an unlucky number, Friday the 13th in particular being unlucky.
When you started with Western, in my head, I went the whole
not Cowboys.
Never eat, and I mixed them up. Never eat shredded waffles.
Oh, yeah.
On what side?
Yeah. I say never eat soggy waffles is what I remember.
I know that's what it's supposed to be, or never eat shredded wheats, but in my mind, I've just mixed them together.
Yeah, this is too much of a tangent too early, but I really do struggle with East and West.
Oh, me too.
And it's weird. Sometimes I'll hear people say they struggle with left and right, and for me, it's like, I got it. Left and right is not a struggle for me at all. In fact,
left and right takes me a second. I'm like, all right, right. My one I used to write.
For some reason, I got that on lock. I don't even have to think about it for a second. Which is why I try to go west is left, east is right. Like, I have to, that's the way I try and remember it.
But doesn't it matter where you're standing, though?
Well, if you are considering north to be, what I mean is that, like, obviously, left and right are not, like, cardinal directions. They are not, left is always left and right is always right.
Yeah.
But I'm mostly talking about when looking at a compass or like a map thing that has north. Now I have to do it again. North, east, southwest.
Yeah.
Like, the compass thing. On that, west is on the left and east is on the right.
Yeah.
Not literally in practice, but on the compass. Anyway, on this day, Friday the 13th, October 1307. Now that's interesting. It's also in the 1300s.
Oh, you got a double whammy of it then.
This is involving the trials of the Knights Templar, considered perhaps the originator of the Friday the 13th being an unlucky bad day idea. So King Philip IV, I believe of France, I did in my research I forgot to write that down, which seems like an important detail.
There was a King Philip from France who was just like, no, it was not me! Why would you accuse me of that?
I accused correctly because it was King Philip IV of France. Basically, this king essentially did that era's version of like a corporate takeover by arresting every Knights Templar that could be found to wipe out the entire order, and getting like the Pope on his side, so he would like officially like eradicate the entire order of the Knights Templar in terms of just like dissolving the organization. And the king did this with like a facade of religious reasoning, calling them heretics and stuff, saying like they needed to be wiped out because they're heretics. But in reality, there was like a severe debt crisis, and seizing the Templar also took all their assets. So the king basically like, we need to take we need to take the money of these heretics, whatever.
Wow.
So the king accused the Templar of devil worshipping Baphomet, accused them of part of their initiation, they needed to urinate on a cross, accused them of sexual deviance, and all kinds of stuff like that to sort of justify the hostile takeover of the Knights Templar.
Maybe the Pope got on their side because he was a super big germaphobe. Like, ooh,
Yeah.
the germs everywhere. Ooh,
Yeah.
I'm not touching that cross.
Just stop them from peeing everywhere.
He's just like, I don't care.
They won't stop peeing.
And then there was someone's great ancestor. Hell, wait, man,
Yeah.
we get to be everywhere. Man,
Yeah.
I knew being that would be a great time. Oh, wait.
Yeah, Prospector Huck the fourth, like,
Yes.
and Huck is actually like Huck the 19th.
Yes.
But oh no, he's Huck the second, like number 2.
That's true. Huck.
But we're talking about number 1. That is fun. Like, what if King Philip IV was just correct, and that the Knights Templar was just genuinely peeing everywhere?
Yeah.
The Knights
They were
Templar,
like some weird college fraternity.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? Some of the accusation, like one of the accusations that King Philip IV made was basically like they had like these sort of like these bad, unethical hazing rituals, sort of like a frat.
Yes.
Like that urinating on the cross was part of the initiation into the Knights Templar. Yeah, so there was some frat vibes, I would say.
Part of the hazing is you couldn't drink anything ahead of time.
Yeah.
So you would have to just stand there and wait.
Yeah,
and they're
to
just
try,
like,
yep.
you gotta go. It's like, I went before I came, guys. Do you have any soap to wash your hands? Nope. You're gonna have dirty urine-soaked hands the rest of the time.
Yes. They couldn't stop. They couldn't stop peeing on everything. And you know, maybe that's probably why it was probably correct to have wiped out, because actually I believe the Black Plague was not too long after this.
Oh.
And you know, sanitation was an important.
Maybe they were the cause of the Black Plague.
Yeah, it wasn't the rat. They blamed it on the rats.
It was these drunken, disgusting knights with their nasty rituals of urinating everywhere.
Yeah. The real crusade was the crusade on the literal rats.
Yes.
They did their own. Basically, like the King Philip did a trials of the Knights Templar, and the Knights Templar did a trials of the rats.
Yes.
Blaming them for the Black Plague.
And unfortunately, the rats were not able to rise up and resist. Unfortunately, they would just run out of the kingdom.
Yeah, unless each of the rats like ratatouille'd each of the knights.
Oh, well, there we go.
Yeah.
like a century later, they finally got their revenge.
Yeah.
They climbed into their helmets and everything.
Yeah. That's pretty rad. I actually wouldn't mind that for a D&D subplot. I am working on a sort of historically medieval campaign for my group. Not a bad idea, because it is historically accurate.
Guys, did you know that like back in the day, the rats were like controlling them by pulling their hair? And they're just like, who told you this? History, guys.
Yeah.
History did.
Read a book. No one wants to read anymore. Everyone's articles and TikTok. No one wants to read a freaking book anymore.
Yeah, a book, hardcover, bent pages everywhere.
It has to be
graffiti in the
hardcover.
sides.
Kind of like this one. This is just show and tell. This is Arthurian legend.
Oh, yes.
Oh, no. But yes. So that is the beginning of, I mean, we have a lot of stuff to get to. So that is the beginning of, essentially, that is thought to be, like, that was a really bad day.
Yes.
It was a no good, very bad day when they did a sort of, this takeover of the Knights Templar. Apparently, it seems kind of like weird that society would take that point in history and then go like, well, now we know that Friday the 13th is a really unlucky day. It seems like a little too convoluted. I had to research that a lot to even figure out like what was going on and like really dumb it down in simple words. But yeah, that's King Philip IV's Trials of the Knights Templar, or perhaps the first unlucky Friday the 13th.